Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Mary Alaleri Yusuf. Increasing age is a significant factor in male and female fertility. Egg freezing or oocyte cryopreservation is a process in which a woman's eggs or oocytes are extracted, frozen, and stored as a way of preserving reproductive potential in women of reproductive age. The first human birth from a frozen oocyte was reported in 1986. However, like any medical intervention, the practice of egg freezing is currently navigating the uncharted waters of legal regulations and ethical questions in Nigeria. My guest is a gynecologist and obstetrician and the CEO of Nordica Fertility Center, Dr. Abayomi Ajayi. Dr. Ajayi is also a member of the Society of Gynecology and Obstetrics, the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, and the Association for Fertility and Reproductive Health. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Let me start by asking the obvious question. Why would a woman, on a personal note, want to freeze her eggs? I know there are probably some medical reasons and all that, but we'll get into that later. But why would a woman wake up and say, let me freeze my eggs?
Wonderful question. But maybe I'll start from the medical part also, because that might sometimes be very compelling. All right. A woman might be going through a procedure that might affect her future fertility. For example, a woman who has had maybe 2-3 surgeries for fibroids. Okay, because with each surgery, there's something we call scars that can be formed. So sometimes the blood supplying the ovaries might get affected while the doctor is trying to do all these things. So sometimes we advise these women to store their eggs, all right, especially when they're not even ready to have a baby yet, all right. Endometriosis also might be a reason why a woman might have to store her eggs. For example, if she has what we call endometriomas, that is like cyst on the 2 ovaries, and you know that affects reproductive capability over time. So there might be some reasons why the woman might need to store eggs. But also cancer might be a reason for, and now you know exactly, chemotherapy, surgery for cancer, and then even radiotherapy. You know, there are things that will affect the reproductive capability. One thing again, when we talk about cancer, many people look at people even, they say, oh, 20 years, 30 years, they're young, but they've forgotten that there is also pediatric cancers, that is cancer in children. So it's possible to have an 8-year-old who has cancer.
Would you be able to store an 8-year-old egg?
Fantastic. There are other things that we can store. Because that 8-year-old might not have eggs yet to store because she's not started menstruating, but we can store our ovarian tissue.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is also possible now. So those are some of the reasons, but you know the ovary contains the egg, so we're finally going to get the eggs from the ovarian tissue that we store. So that's also possible. But one of the things that, probably one of the ones that are most talked about are what we call, we used to call them social egg freezing, but now we prefer to call them elective egg freezing, which is that a woman can't seem to find a suitable man yet. She needs to postpone raising a family, and then she can store her eggs, all right? And then, and also sometimes there's some things she wants to achieve, which she has not achieved yet, and she decides, and then there's still no Mr. Right, she decides to freeze her eggs. And I say sometimes that might be a good thing, because you see some, you know that fertility decreases with age, especially in women. I keep saying that 35 years is a very critical age in the life of a woman, because fertility decreases very significantly at 35.
Yet a lot of women are not married by that time.
That's the point.
Or just newly married then.
That is the point. So, and that's why, you know, it's by the time you're about, because from about 35, the chances that your eggs, it's like, if you, I don't know if you watch football, I mean, it's like from about 35 is your second team that is now playing, not the first team anymore.
Oh, definitely.
So
35, you're an old man in football.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, so it's like the second team that is playing. So, and that's why we tell people that, look, it's either you're trying to raise a family early enough or you're storing your eggs.
Okay. So you've spoken of also tissue preservation.
That's right.
Is it the same as embryo preservation?
No.
So there are lots of things you can actually preserve.
Exactly. Now, the egg, it's yours alone. All right? So if you're not married, you can store eggs. All right? If you can store ovarian tissue if you are not married. But for embryo, you need a sperm to fertilize the egg. So you need a man to fertilize your eggs for you to do embryo storage. All right? So usually it's married people who do embryo storage. Okay. And of course, it also has legal implications.
Oh, okay. So the embryo, by this time, the egg and the sperm have
They've come together.
Ah, that would have legal implications.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's go to other things first.
Yeah.
How are these eggs frozen? What do they actually do? Just stick them in the freezer?
Well, very similar to that, but we have to do IVF first. Okay, in the sense that we have to stimulate the woman. You know, normally a woman will produce one egg, sometimes two, but very early. But we cannot do this.
Sir, some women seem not to produce eggs every month.
Sure.
Aha, because I knew somebody who, it was like every 3 months. So it might be difficult for that kind of person.
No, but that's why we don't leave it to nature to do that. So that's why we first do IVF. That we stimulate the ovaries to produce the eggs, and then we go and take out the eggs like we do in IVF. It is not, we don't do surgery. We go through the vagina with, there's a, like with ultrasound and a needle, and we can collect the eggs.
So they are aspirated?
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
So we are just like IVF.
But that seems quite simple, you know.
It is.
A procedure.
The only thing that is different from IVF is that we don't replace, we store.
Okay.
Okay. And so, and we can store this for as long as you like. As long? Yeah, especially
how many years?
In Nigeria.
Everything has an expiry date.
No, you see, nice question. What happens actually is that we freeze that egg out of, it's like it's not existing at all. So there's no wear and tear at all. It just stays in where it is. So even if you store a 25-year-old egg for 10 years, by the time you're thawing, the owner of the egg is now 35, but the eggs are still 25.
Ah, that's impressive.
Yes, that is the advantage of that. Okay, so we can store these eggs. For example, in the UK, they still fighting this 10-year rule. They say you can't store more than 10 years. But the obvious reason is that because of this, if you have like the 8-year-old that we mentioned about, 10 years she's 18. She probably doesn't want to get married.
She's probably not even thinking about marriage.
So that's why people are saying that, okay, why don't you extend it beyond that? But luckily for us in Nigeria, there is still no law governing that says you cannot freeze for more than this. And so many other countries also, they don't interfere with how long you can freeze. You know,
the eggs.
During the Katrina, you know that some eggs were recovered after the storm from some IVF clinics that went under the storm, and they got babies from these eggs.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah. But I want to ask you, how viable are these eggs when they come out of storage? Are they as viable as when they were within the woman?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question as well. But this depends again, and that's why you have to look at the antecedents of the IVF clinic that you want to store your eggs with, because that's the most important point. What is the ability of the eggs to survive when you need them? We call that process thawing. When we thaw, how many of these eggs will survive? And that's where there's a problem, big problem maybe in this part of the world. But some clinics are doing very well in that. For example, we reviewed our 2022 figures, and we saw that when we store, we have 92.3% survival rate.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And what is recommended is that you should have above 85%. survival rate. And that's one of the things in places where certification is done. If your survival rate is not up to 85, you're not certified to.
So if you want to store a woman's eggs, she says she's ready to store her eggs. How many eggs do you harvest?
Wow, that's actually probably the most important question, because I hear some people sometimes, they say they have stored their eggs. This is not even Nigeria. And you ask how many eggs have you stored, she says 4. And seriously?
And what if they all fail?
Seriously, you see, what I tell people is that the only reason why we store eggs is because we want to get babies at the end of it, okay? Not just for the sake of storing eggs. So if you're going to store eggs, depends, one, on your age. All right? If you are below 35, okay, you should store at least 15 to 20 eggs. And that gives you a probability of about, say, 80% that you will have a baby.
All eggs?
Yeah.
15 to 20?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So, which means only one of them may survive, or what are you saying?
This is how it works. And that's why some people, when you say 15, 20, they say, why do I need so many? Okay, but this is how it works, all right? There's some ratios that are fixed. And then let's say if you start with 15, okay, when you thaw, we just said now that let's give it 80 to 90% of them will survive. So you already have 13 out of the 15 left by the time you have thawed. When you fertilize, you expect 70 to 80% of them to fertilize. You are now 10. You have about 10 fertilized eggs. Now, out of this, we expect again that about 50% of them will get to day 5, which is
yes, because some spontaneously abort.
No, they're still in the lab.
Oh, they're still in the lab?
Yes, they just die on their own. Some just die on their own.
But isn't that just like when a woman is pregnant and maybe she has a spontaneous abortion, just because it wasn't going to be successful anyway?
That comes later.
Yeah,
we're still talking about.
I understand.
But that happens also in the woman's body. Do you understand?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it happens in the woman's body, but because she has not paid, she has not missed her period, we don't get to understand that all this happened.
Yes.
Okay. So about 50% of the 10 get to day 5. So at that point in the time, you have about 5.
You're down to 5 eggs.
Okay. Out of these 5 eggs, depends on the age of the person who stored, about 5 to 50% of them are normal. They have the ability to become babies. So
okay, that's where I was going with that statement.
2. You already have 2 now. Out of the 2, about 50% of them to 70% of those normal blastocysts can become babies. So you have 1 baby.
1
out of 15.
After 15 eggs. But there is every possibility that every single woman who stores 15 can get 1.
That's what we're saying, that the chances are very high. We can never assure you that even if you stored 30, that you can get a baby.
Okay.
But we're saying that your chances of getting a baby with egg freezing, more is better.
Okay.
So, but the problem now comes when you are 40, because sometimes people ask me, they're 42 and they say, I want to come and store eggs. And I say,
at 42?
And I say, there's a problem here.
Because even at 42, to have a baby.
Precisely. So where are we going to get 30 eggs from you, 20 eggs from you? How? Do you understand? So that becomes, because those are the people usually that you see, they say they stock 4 eggs. Now, the problem, don't forget when I was talking about the possibility of becoming a baby, I said between 5% to 50%. So for the 42-year-old, the chances that no matter the number of eggs that she has, the number of embryos that she has that can become babies is about 15%, 20%.
That is very low.
So if she has 4 eggs, now by the time they become embryos, maybe there are only 2 embryos. So that's the problem.
And then we don't know how viable those embryos are.
There might be none.
We have to take a break now, sir. Please stay with us for this really interesting conversation. Meet us at the other side. Welcome back. It's Health Matters, and we're discussing egg freezing for the future. If you have questions on the topic, call 0808-054-2233. You can send a message at ctv_Mary A or send me email at moalale@channelstv.com. Doctor, let's go straight to asking, when a woman has frozen her eggs, she has now gotten to the point where she wants a baby, but she's old. Who carries the baby?
As she'll carry it.
She can carry a baby?
Yes. What do you mean by old? Because...
okay, maybe she's 35 and she's now ready.
No, she's young.
Oh, really?
No, the oldest... Look, even in my place, the oldest woman is 57 who carried that baby. But we know that it's possible for you to carry even at more advanced age than that. Okay.
But I thought that at that age, you know, a woman is advised, don't even go there.
No. See, the problem is that she has solved that problem by freezing her eggs at a young age.
I see. Okay, so that was the problem.
That's the problem.
Carrying is not the problem.
No, as long as you have good health and you have a uterus, you can carry. Actually, there's a story of a mother that became a surrogate for her own child.
Okay, so these stories we hear about a 57-year-old had a baby, a 60-year-old had a baby, some of them may be a case of egg freezing?
No, they don't. Those guys don't freeze no eggs. There are some things also going on. Like, how many people have frozen eggs in Nigeria? You know,
I was coming to that.
There are not many. Okay, maybe... I don't have the figures, but there are not many. It's not really a common practice yet. And that's one of the things that we're saying, that many people are missing that window of being able to preserve their fertility for the future.
What's the best age?
Oh, you're better off in your early 30s, if possible. Yeah. Some people say it's the best gift that a father can give to a daughter at 30 when she's not married. You know, so the earlier you store your eggs, the better. The only disadvantage about that is that we've seen that many young people who store their eggs never come back for them because they get married naturally. They get pregnant naturally. Yeah, but it's better that you have an insurance and you don't die than you die and you don't have an insurance.
Let's take this call from Rosemary in Abuja. Hello, Rosemary.
Hello, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. What's your question?
Yes, my question is that I really enjoy the program you're on to. Went to the hospital. I wanted to do an IVF, but I was told, but I'm 52, that the immune test I did, I will not be able to do it. I don't know. At my age, I want to ask the doctor whether it's possible for me to get the baby, because I want a male child.
By IVF?
At my age now, yeah.
Is that 52 or 62? I didn't quite get that.
52.
Okay, thank you so much, Rosemary from Abuja.
Yeah, sure.
She was told she's too old for IVF.
No, if she wants to use her eggs, she's too old.
Okay.
All right? But if she wants a baby, and she can use egg donor, she's not too old.
Oh, eggs are donated?
Oh, yes.
All right.
So she's not too old. I just told you that we had the oldest person in my clinic is 57. And that's also because now we're trying to fix the age at which there should be a cap to the age at which we can do this procedure. Not because it's not possible, but it's not everything that you can do that you should do. You understand what I mean? Yeah, there should be, so these are the ethical things that we're trying to put into stuff.
So women are donating eggs?
Oh, yeah.
Are there any donating eggs in Nigeria? Because that's another thing. Nigeria.
Many people are donating eggs in Nigeria.
Wow. That is beautiful. Tell me about the legal arguments.
Of egg donation?
Yes, of egg preservation, freezing.
Okay, yeah, maybe the good thing about it, that I was trying to say the other time is that when you freeze your eggs, you are in total control of the eggs. All right, the problem that used to happen was because egg freezing is sort of a newer thing than embryo freezing.
Okay.
We've been freezing sperm and embryos for quite a while. Egg freezing came in the last maybe 20 years or so. You know, they still, and that's why it's not every clinic also that can do it properly. So, yes, but the thing is that with embryo, you need a man. So imagine you were married, okay, and you did embryo freezing, all right? And then probably you have a problem in your marriage and the guy says, I'm not going ahead. He has as equal right as you do. He can tell you that the embryos must be destroyed.
Wow.
Yes. But with eggs, you don't need anybody's permission. They are yours.
To give you the say-so.
Yeah, exactly. They are yours. And that's one of the things that, but like I said, it's more difficult, especially.
Can I just pause you there? Sure. Let's take Soji. Hello, Soji.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Good afternoon. What's your question?
Yes, so I know an individual who wanted to get IVF done to another person to help donate egg. But upon investigation, they were told that the ovarian reserve is grossly depleted and that the guarantee of a quality egg is not assured. In that case, what do they do? Do they simply just look for another donor, or there's something that can be done to boost that particular person's egg?
Yeah, good question.
For the person who wants the IVF done.
Yeah, they should get another donor. Because you see, it's like, that is what that person is. All the other things that we're talking about, egg boosting, is still...
It's still in the area of...
yeah, we don't know.
Trial.
Yeah, we don't know. We still don't know. So it's better, you want to get a baby, the donor you brought has depleted ovarian reserve, get another donor.
As we are now in Nigeria, can we go on this journey of egg freezing full throttle? Or do we need extra infrastructure, extra, whatever it is, for it to work in Nigeria?
I just told you our own result. That's what you can, America, anywhere in the world, that will suffice. So I think it's a matter of the development or the facilities available in individual laboratories. So there is nothing that we need.
Okay, so I'm asking this for women in a second, just to assure them, is the procedure painful?
It's normal IVF, so there is nothing more than that about that. It's not a painful procedure, yeah.
But how about aspiration?
The aspiration is done under what we call conscious sedation.
Okay.
And some people will say, no, I don't even want any pain. I want it under general anesthesia.
All right.
It's possible.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to the program. That was really an eye-opener. And thank you very much at home for being with us. Thanks for your calls, Soji and Rosemary. Have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alala Yusuf.